Hi, this is Mrs. Clark, and welcome to a video for Algebra 1 on solving multi-step equations with variables on both sides. Okay, when solving multi-step equations, we need to use this flowchart. First thing I'm going to look for is distributive property. What's going to tell me I have distributive property is if I see any parentheses. When I look at example number 1, I do not see any parentheses, so I'm going to skip that step. Number 2a says combine like terms on each side of the equal sign. So I drew a line down the center of my equal sign so that I could check to see if I had like terms on both sides. So first, if I look on the left, I have a 5x and a minus 7. Those are not like terms because this has an x and this one does not. Separately, I'm going to look on the right. I've got three terms on the right. I've got an x, which is 1x. I've got a negative 1 and a positive 2. So I'm going to separate those three terms. Now, what over here is like is the two numbers, the negative 1 and the positive 2. This has an x, so it's by itself. These two are just numbers, so they're going to combine together. So I'm going to rewrite my equation, and then when I get to the right side, I'm going to combine those two. So on the left, I have 5x minus 7. I'm going to keep my equal sign along that line. And on the right, I have this 1x that I didn't do anything with, and then I have this minus 1 plus 2. So I need to know what negative 1 plus 2 is. I'll go to my calculator. Negative 1 plus 2 equals 1. So I'm going to add, it's a positive 1, so I'm going to put plus 1 on the end here. Okay, the next thing it says on my flowchart, I've done my combining like terms. But now if we look at our equation, we'll notice I have x's here and I have x's there. So that's where we're going to go into this number 2b step. I'm going to look to move my like terms to one side of the equation using the inverse. Anytime I want to cross this line, one term to cross this line, I need to use the inverse. So if I want to bring all of my x's to this side, I need to use the inverse. I want to bring all my x's to that side, I want to use the inverse. So I can decide whether I move the x's over to here or bring all the x's over here. But I need to get all the x's together. I also need to get all my numbers together, but first I'm going to focus on the x's. So I like to look at the smaller x, and I used to move that one first. So this is 1x. I would like to move this one over here. It's going to be easier. It's going to keep me from having more negative numbers in my problem. So in order to move this 1x across the line, I need to know the inverse of positive 1x. So positive 1, the inverse of that is negative 1. But because it has an x on it, I need to do negative 1x. That's what's going to make these cancel out and become 0. Whatever I do over here, I've got to do on the other side as well. So now that I know what I'm going to do, I'm going to subtract 1x from both sides. I'm going to go through and rewrite what my equation looks like. So I've got 5x minus 7. But over here, I'm going to do 5x minus 1x, and I'm going to get 4x minus 7. Keep my equals on the line. And when I get here, I've got 1x minus 1x. Those are going to cancel out and be 0. So I'm not even going to write them. And then I have this plus 1 hanging out by itself. So now I'm left with a very easy two-step equation. So I brought all of my x's over to the left side. And now the x's are together. So now I can bring all my numbers over to the right side, because I know the first thing I need to do is undo this negative 7, because that is the constant that is over with this variable. So to undo this subtract 7, I'm going to add 7. And now all my numbers are going to be over here on the right. So let me rewrite my equation. 4x comes down. Negative 7 and positive 7 cancel out. Equals goes on my line. 1 plus 7 is 8. Now I have 4x equals 8. One more step and I'll have my solution. So 4 times x, I'm going to divide by 4 to get rid of the 4 in the front, to get rid of that coefficient. Do it on both sides. That leaves me with 1x. I've isolated my variable. 8 divided by 4 is 2, so my solution is x equals 2. Again, we're going to start by dividing our equation with that line down the equal sign, so we can keep our left and our right separate for now. On the left, n plus 2, there are no like terms. N and 2 are different, so I underlined one line here and 2 lines there to show they're not the same. That's part of showing my work for these types of problems. I'm going to bring down that n plus 2 as well, because I'm not going to do anything with it while I'm in that first combining like terms stage. On the right side, I've got 6n and negative 4n that are the same. I'm going to separate my terms here so I can remember to bring the signs with each term. And then I've got minus 2 and minus 4, which are like terms. So I got to combine both sets. So first I'll do my variables. 6n minus 4n is going to be 2n. Negative 2 minus 4 is going to be negative 6. So subtract 6. And now I've got n plus 2 equals 2n minus 6. So again, we've completed that step 2a, combining like terms, and now we're moving on to 2b. Move like terms to one side, use the inverse. So if I look, I've got an n here and a 2n over there. I've got to move them all over to the left or move all those n's over to the right. I have to use the inverse to cross this line. So I usually choose the smaller one because I like to work with positive numbers. It's going to leave me less opportunities to make a mistake. So this n is 1n, so that's the smaller one. So I'm going to move that over to the right. The only way I can do that is by doing an inverse operation. So 1n, it's a positive 1n, so I'm going to subtract 1n on both sides. Write it right underneath the n's. And then I'm going to rewrite my equation. 1n minus 1n cancels out, and that's 0. So I'm left with a positive 2 equals 2n minus 1n is 1n. And then the 6, negative 6, I didn't do anything with that, so minus 6. 2 equals 1n minus 6. Remember, 1n is the same thing as n, so I can write the 1 or not. If I want to rewrite it, I can rewrite it 2 equals n minus 6. And then from here, I need to isolate this n, so I need to get rid of this negative 6. So I'm going to do the inverse of subtraction, add 6 on both sides. 8 equals n, and that is our solution. So in the first example, I moved all the variables to the left. In the second example, I moved all the variables to the right. Remember, it's your choice, but personally, I always choose the smaller one. On to number 3. Now I'm going to move a little quicker now that we've done this a couple times. So let's divide our equal sign here in the line. Here, there are no like terms over here to combine. I got a variable and no variable. Over here, a variable and no variable. So no like terms to combine anywhere. So that means I'm going to start with that, moving all my terms to one side, all my x terms. So I've got 7x and 2x. I'm going to choose the 2x. It's a positive 2x, so I'm going to do the inverse to cross this line and bring the x's over there. Positive 2x, the inverse of that is negative 2x. It's really important that I write my x here so I don't accidentally put it in the wrong place or underneath the wrong term. I'm going to write it on both sides to show that I'm keeping my equation balanced. Over here, I'm going to do my math and then rewrite this side equals rewrite this side. 7x minus 2x is 5x. Minus 13 equals 2x minus 2x is 0. And I have just a negative 8 left on this side. Now we get easy peasy two-step equation. Add 13 on both sides. 5x. Keep my equal sign on the line. Negative 8 plus 13 is positive 5. 5x equals 5. Divide by 5 on both sides. X equals 1 is our solution. Number 4. Draw the line down the middle of the equal sign. Nothing to combine over here. Over here I got a lot of things, so I got to combine them. I'm going to separate them so I can focus on their signs and see what's like. I've got a negative 2, I've got a negative 6, I've got a negative 8. All of those are just constant terms. They're just numbers. So I'm going to combine all those together. This positive 4x has nothing to combine with. So I'm going to start to rewrite my equation. X plus 5 is going to stay the same on the left, equals right on the line. Now I'm going to start to combine. I always like to write my variable first, so I'm going to put this positive 4x here first, since it has nothing to combine with. Then I'm going to combine these numbers. Negative 2 minus 6 minus 8. I'm going to type that right into my calculator. Negative 2 minus 6 minus 8. Hit enter. Negative 16. So I'm going to put minus 16 on the end here. Now I've got x's on the left and x's on the right. So I'm going to look to bring them together. I'm going to find the smaller one. That's my 1x here. positive x, or 1x, however you want to look at it. The opposite of positive x is minus x, so I'm going to subtract x. If you like to put the 1's there, you can do that as well, 1x and minus 1x. I'll rewrite my equation. These cancel out, and I have just 5 on this side, equal sign on the line. 4x minus x is minus 1x is 3x. Bring down the negative 16. 5 equals 3x minus 16. Add the 16 to both sides. 21 equals 3x. Divide both sides by 3. 7 equals x. There we have it. Last two. Number 5. This is the first time I'm seeing these parentheses, so we're going to have to go back to that step 1. Step 1 is to use the distributive property to remove parentheses on each side of the equal sign. So I'm going to rewrite, well, first I'm going to put my line down the equal sign. I'm going to rewrite the left, 40 minus 7r equals. On the right, I'm going to distribute. Negative 2 gets multiplied times 8. There's negative 16, but there's an r, so I'm going to put negative 16r. Then I got to remember negative 2 has to multiply times positive 7. Negative 2 times positive 7 is negative 14. So I get 40 minus 7r equals negative 16r minus 14. Now I'm going to look at my r's to get them. Oh, I'm going to actually look here. I've got to combine like terms next. But if I look over here, I've got a number and an r. And then over here, I've got a number and an r. So there's no like terms to combine. So move to 2b. Move like terms to one side, use inverse. So now I've got negative 7r and I've got negative 16r. I know I said to use the smaller one, so the smaller one is going to be the bigger negative number. So I'm going to choose this negative 16r and move it over here. To cross that line, I need to use the inverse. So inverse of negative 16r is positive 16r. I'm going to write that underneath both r terms. And then I'm going to rewrite my equation. Over here, I didn't do anything with 40, so I'm going to bring that down. Negative 7r plus 16r. I'm going to go to my calculator. I'm going to type in negative 7 plus 16. Enter. I've got 9, so that's going to give me 9r. It's a positive 9, so plus 9r equals. These cancel out. I got negative 14. So 40 plus 9r equals 14. 2 steps, and I'm done. 40, I got to get rid of the number that's over with the variable, so I got to get rid of the 40. It's positive 40, so I'm going to subtract 40. These are going to cancel out. Let me rewrite my equation. Positive 9r equals on the line. Negative 14 minus 40 is negative 54. So 9r equals negative 54. 9 is being multiplied, so I'm going to divide. These are going to cancel out and give me 1r equals negative 54 divided by 9. I get negative 6. R equals negative 6. One more to go. Almost there. All right, last one. Again, we're going to follow these directions. Start with distributive property, then look for combining like terms, then look to move all my terms, x terms to one side, then follow the same 2 steps that we always do at the end. All right, distributive property, negative 7 times 8 is negative 56. I forgot my line here. Negative 7 times 2r, it's a positive 2r. Negative 7 times positive 2 will be negative 14. Put an r on the end there. Equal sign on the line. 3r plus 29. Next, combine like terms. R term, number term, nothing to combine. R term, number term, nothing to combine. Move on to number 2b. Move like terms to one side. Use the inverse. So look at my r terms. I've got 3r here. That's kind of small. But I've got negative 14r here. So I'm going to focus on this negative 14r. I'm going to do the inverse. I'm going to add 14r on both sides. I'm going to rewrite what I have. Negative 56. Those are going to cancel out. Equals on the line. 3r plus 14r. 3 plus 14 is 17. So 17r plus 29. Now, I'm going to look over here because this looks a little confusing, and I want to undo addition or subtraction, the constant term with the variable. So my variable's here. This is my coefficient. This is my constant. So I want to get rid of 29. It's a positive 29. I'm going to do the inverse, subtract 29 on both sides. Uh-oh. Negative 56 minus 29. Let me type that in. Negative 56 minus 29 is negative 85. So negative 85 on this side equals 17r on this side, because that cancels out. Last step, I need to isolate the variable. Let's get rid of that 17. Let's divide both sides by 17. Negative 85 divided by 17 is, did it again. Negative 5. Negative 5 equals r. Bam. There we go. 6 problems done using all 4 of our steps in this pink flowchart. We got distributive property, combining like terms, moving your x's to one side with inverse, then 2-step equations. Finish it up. You guys got this. If you need to rewatch anything, feel free to go ahead. If you are all done, come get some practice on these multi-step equations with variables on both sides. Thanks for watching.